Uh, Children are on the street all the time. Up, and she said okay, and that's the way the hospital report went. I've been raping and molesting for over a period of 25 years, and I have in excess of 300 victims.
Hands-on victims?
All hands-on victims.
Okay. How did you get access to so many victims?
Children are on the street all the time. I created my own opportunities. There were children at stores. I had picked some children up at the stores, at the penny arcades, and I have snatched some off the street.
Now, did you, by pick them up, do you mean by grooming? You talk them into it, or do you mean violently grab them and kidnap them?
Sometimes there had been some violent kidnapping. Snatching a child off the street, pulling him into my car, taking him to a deserted area, raping and molesting him, and then taking him back to where I had snatched him from. There had been incidents where I would groom the child with toys, money. I'd see a child in a store standing around the toy displays, and I would offer to buy the toy that this child may be looking at, and would actually walk up to the counter and pay for the toy and walk out of the store with the child and the toy. And then I would, after I had taken the child to a deserted area or a house that I had actually fixed up for the purpose of raping and molesting children, I would take the child back to the store where I had got him from and leave him off at the front door and leave. I believe I feel more that I led a triple life. I was one way at home, I was one way at work, and I was a different way in the community. When I was at home, I was a molesting monster. I would rape and molest. When I was in the community, I was more of a stalker. I would be stalking people, stalking children, looking for victims. When I was more with my employers or the in crowd that I was in, it was something, I was completely different as, I'm the perfect individual, have a good paying job, drive a nice car, dress nice, and go to a lot of high class, fancy places. And this is the life, this is what I would portray to the people that I wanted them to see. My friends, my employers, business associates. This is what I would portray to them. What people didn't know about going on in my home was a lot of extreme violence. Beating my son up, beating my wife when I wanted it, or how I wanted it. I would beat her up and then rape her after I'd beat her. I had beaten my son into unconsciousness a number of times. And then I would keep him, sometimes kept locked up in the house until his bruises healed up. Keep him away from school, keeping him away from his friends. Nobody around me knew what I was doing. Nobody around my community knew that I was such a violent individual in the home. If they did, they never said anything, but I don't believe they ever knew, because I was completely and totally different outside of the house once I left the home. I told myself that my stepchild, because he wasn't mine,